Rain pattered softly against the windshield as Alex drove down the quiet suburban street, the city lights reflecting like tiny stars on the wet asphalt. It had been a long day, and every muscle in Alex's body ached from work. The hum of the engine was comforting, almost soothing, but there was a strange tension in the air that Alex could not shake. The tires slid slightly on the wet road as Alex rounded a sharp corner. A sudden flash of lightning illuminating the empty streets. Alex's heart beat a little faster, though there was no reason for fear. It was just another rainy evening. Or so Alex thought. Then it happened. The brake pedal pressed down like usual, but the car did not slow. A strange mechanical resistance made Alex's stomach drop. Something was wrong, very wrong. The heart raced. Palms slick on the steering wheel. "Not now, please." "Not now," Alex muttered under breath, pressing the pedal harder, but the car continued to accelerate. The world outside blurred, streaks of light from street lamps and signs rushing past. Alex's mind spun, trying to think, trying to remember everything learned in driving lessons. Ahead, a red light flickered, signaling the next intersection. Other cars waited, oblivious to the danger speeding toward them. Alex's pulse thundered in the ears. There was barely time to react, and every second felt stretched, distorted. Then a choice appeared in the mind, like a flashing sign. Slam the brakes or swerve into the next lane. Each option carried danger. Each choice could end in disaster. Alex's instinct screamed to slam the brakes first, fingers trembling on the steering wheel. The thought of colliding with the cars ahead made the chest tighten. A loud squeal came from the tires, screaming in protest against the wet road. But the car refused to obey. Then, "Swerve," Alex whispered, gripping the wheel tighter. The tires skidding dangerously as the car swung into the adjacent lane. Heart pounding, eyes wide, scanning the new lane. Other vehicles loomed ahead, strangers who could never predict this sudden intrusion. Drivers honked and swerved themselves, chaos erupting in a matter of seconds. Alex felt a cold sweat running down the back, nerves raw, every sense alive. In that instant, memories flashed in a torrent. Faces of family, friends, even past mistakes. The reckless moments that seemed trivial before now felt like warnings. Alex wished for a brief second to be anywhere else but here. A truck appeared in the new lane, massive and threatening, headlights glaring like angry eyes. There was no time to brake, no room to maneuver safely. The car continued to slide on the wet asphalt. The sound of tires against the road like a scream. Alex's mind raced, calculating, hoping, praying for a miracle. Could the car fit between the truck and the curb? Could the vehicle stop before it was too late? The seconds felt like hours, and every heartbeat was a drum of terror. Pedestrians on the sidewalk froze, some stepping back, some screaming. Not all could move in time, and Alex feared the worst. Every choice seemed wrong, yet one had to be made. The wheel twisted in Alex's hands. Desperate and frantic, suddenly the car hit a small puddle, sending a splash across the windshield. Visibility dropped, and panic surged higher. Every muscle tensed, adrenaline flooding the veins. This was no longer just a car ride home. This was a battle for survival. Alex remembered a lesson from a driving instructor. Keep calm, and control is still possible, the words echoed. But calm was a distant dream, yet Alex forced the breathing. Forcing focus, looking for an opening. A tiny chance. The truck drew closer and the lane narrowed. The street seemed to shrink around Alex, walls closing in, and the brakes still refused to respond. Each passing second brought the collision closer, each heartbeat louder. A sudden thought struck. Maybe the brakes were not the only problem. Maybe the car was tampered with, but now was not the time to think. Now was the time to act. Every decision could be final, irreversible. Alex gritted teeth, tightened grip, and prepared to face whatever would happen. Every instinct screamed for survival. Every sense sharpened. The car skidded on the slick road, heading straight for the truck, the pedestrians, the chaos ahead. Then a blinding flash of lightning lit the entire street, and the scene froze in Alex's mind. Time seeming to pause for a heartbeat. Could the car stop? Could it swerve safely? Or was disaster inevitable? The answer remained uncertain. And in that suspended moment, Alex made the choice. A single decision that would change everything. That would set the stage for events no one could predict. The wheel turned, the car slid, and the world held its breath. This was only the beginning. Only the first chapter in a chain of life or death decisions. The streets of the quiet suburb had transformed into a battleground, and Alex was caught in the center, forced to fight against fate itself. Rain continued to fall, drumming against the car, mixing with the sound of heartbeats, tires, and distant sirens. Alex's mind raced. Knowing that the coming minutes would test courage, wit, and instinct, every choice mattered, and nothing could be taken for granted. The runaway car careened forward. Unstoppable, yet somewhere deep inside, a spark of hope remained, a chance to survive, to navigate the danger, to make it through. And as the car skidded toward the unknown, Alex braced for the impact, for the consequences of the choice, and for the story that was only beginning. The world seemed to tilt as Alex's car skidded violently, tires shrieking against the wet asphalt. The truck loomed closer, its massive frame dominating the lane, headlights glaring like a predator ready to strike. Panic surged through Alex, muscles tightening. Mind racing to find an escape. Move, 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 Alex shouted, though no one could hear over the roar of rain and screeching tires. Every reflex screamed to act, yet every option seemed deadly. The steering wheel felt heavy, unresponsive in the grip of fear. Other cars honked frantically, their drivers swerving and braking in a desperate attempt to avoid the runaway vehicle. Pedestrians scattered, their umbrellas and coats flapping wildly in the wind. Some froze in terror, unable to decide whether to flee or watch. Alex's mind flashed back to the moment the brakes first failed. The panic that had set in like a wildfire and the split-second decision to swerve. That choice, meant to avoid immediate danger, had now led straight into another, bigger, more threatening. The truck's horn blared, deafening, echoing off the buildings lining the street. The gap between the two vehicles shrank with every heartbeat. And yet somehow Alex noticed a tiny opening on the right side. A narrow lane between the curb and a parked delivery van, barely wide enough for the car to squeeze through. Alex's hands shook violently, gripping the wheel as the car veered. The tires scraped against the curb, sparks flying briefly as metal met concrete. But the movement worked. The car fit through the narrow space. A miracle of luck and precision, breathing heavily. Alex glanced at the truck now passing by inches away, its horn still blaring, the driver shouting something incomprehensible. The world outside the car was chaos. Yet inside, Alex felt a strange, fleeting calm, the realization that survival was possible for this instant. But there was no time to celebrate, no moment to feel relief. Because the street ahead was worse than anything seen before. A construction zone appeared, barriers and cones blocking the lane, workers waving frantically, and puddles reflecting every flashing light. Alex cursed under breath, pressing harder on the accelerator, though the car seemed to have a mind of its own. Sliding unpredictably, every turn became a gamble, every second a test of skill and instinct. Memories of driving lessons, of hours practicing on empty roads, now mattered more than ever. Then another obstacle appeared, a delivery truck backing out from a driveway. Oblivious to the chaos, its rear lights flashed suddenly. A warning too late, Alex's heart leaped. Mind screaming for action, the only choice was to swerve again, this time into the opposite lane. Rain pounded harder on the windshield, reducing visibility. Each droplet a tiny explosion of light as headlights bounced off them. Alex's vision blurred, but the mind sharpened, every sound amplified. The screech of tires, the horn of the truck, the shouts of pedestrians, all blending into a single urgent rhythm. A car horn blared suddenly from behind. Another vehicle trapped in the sudden chaos. Alex glanced in the rearview mirror, seeing a sedan approaching fast, the driver's face a mix of shock and anger. There was no room to stop, no time to slow, only choices. And then it hit Alex, the realization that someone might have caused this. That the brake failure was not an accident. A chill ran down the spine, adding another layer to the fear. The car was not just out of control, it was targeted, manipulated, and now, survival depended on more than luck. The narrow lane ended abruptly, leading to a small intersection. A light flickered red, then yellow, then green, as if mocking the chaos. Cars waited, some moving cautiously, others impatient, unaware of the runaway car heading straight toward them. Alex's hands trembled, heart pounding harder than ever. Then, with instinct honed by pure terror, Alex spotted it, a small alley to the right, barely visible, shadowed, lined with dumpsters and crates. It was the only escape from the immediate collision, yet it promised new dangers. The unknown waiting in its darkness, Alex turned sharply, tires screeching as the car entered the alley, scraping against a dumpster, the metal bouncing back with a dull clang. Every second counted, every movement precise. And yet the danger was not over. The sound of the truck horn faded, replaced by distant sirens approaching, signaling emergency responders or perhaps other threats. The alley led to a small side street, debris scattered across the road. Broken signs, a bicycle lying on its side. Yet Alex navigated carefully, inch by inch, skill and luck merging to keep the car moving. The adrenaline surged, every sense alive, every nerve ending screaming. But even as the car slowed slightly, Alex could not shake the fear. Someone had done this. Someone had tampered with the brakes, and they would not stop. The thought made the skin crawl, adding weight to the already unbearable tension. A sudden flash of headlights appeared behind the car, another vehicle approaching fast. Too close, too quick, the chase was not over, and the alley offered no room to escape. Alex's mind raced for options, calculating, planning, hoping for a miracle. Every turn, every swerve, every heartbeat could be the difference between life and death. The car sped forward, tires screaming against wet asphalt, the rain continuing to pour like a curtain of chaos. And in that moment, as Alex's eyes darted between obstacles, traffic and the unknown threat behind, the world seemed to pause, holding its breath. The next decision would define everything. The choice loop continued, and the danger had only just begun. The rain had begun to slow, turning into a light drizzle, but the streets still gleamed wet and slippery under the dim city lights. Alex's car finally came to a jarring stop against the curb, metal groaning, tires smoking, and the engine coughing before falling silent. A deep, trembling breath escaped Alex, chest tight, heart pounding. The world around seemed distant. Almost unreal, Alex unbuckled the seatbelt, legs stiff and shaking, and opened the door cautiously. Peering into the street, the crash and chaos had drawn a small crowd, neighbors and pedestrians staring in shock, some whispering, some shaking their heads in disbelief. A few were recording on phones, capturing every angle of the moment. Alex's hands trembled as they touched the wet hood, feeling dents and scratches from the frantic maneuvers. The adrenaline that had kept nerves taut now left behind a hollow, chilling emptiness, pain stabbed in the shoulder and leg, small cuts from broken glass, but nothing seemed worse than the lingering terror. "Are you okay?" A voice called from behind, hesitant, worried. Alex turned to see a middle-aged woman holding an umbrella, her eyes wide, soaked hair clinging to her face. She stepped closer cautiously, a mix of concern and fear in her expression. I think so," Alex said, voice shaky, trying to steady it. Every word felt heavy, like carrying the weight of the near disaster. "The brakes. They failed," Alex added, realizing just how unbelievable it might sound. The woman nodded slowly, glancing at the car. "I saw it. You swerved like a pro. I don't know how you survived." Her words, though kind, did little to soothe the tight coil of fear inside Alex. The reality was clear. Luck had played a role, but so had skill, instinct, and pure desperation. As Alex tried to gather thoughts, a shadow moved at the edge of the crowd, a figure watching closely, eyes hidden under the hood of a raincoat, unsettlingly calm, deliberate, and familiar. Alex felt a chill run down the spine. Something about the person seemed off. Too intentional, too focused. "Who's that?" Alex muttered under breath, but the woman didn't see. Distracted by other onlookers, Alex's instincts screamed. Danger might not be over. The runaway car incident had been sudden, terrifying, but now it felt like a trap, a setup, a warning. Alex tried to move away slowly, leaning on the door, but every step reminded of the chaos just escaped. Sirens wailed in the distance, a comforting and terrifying sound at the same time. Police and emergency responders would arrive soon, but Alex was not sure if that would be help or another complication. A sudden whistle cut through the air, sharp, commanding, drawing attention to the figure standing now closer, stepping into the dim light, revealing a face Alex did not recognize immediately but somehow seemed familiar. The figure spoke, calm, measured. "Alex," the voice made the blood freeze. The tone carried authority, urgency, and a hint of menace. Alex's mind raced, trying to place it. The chest tightened, stomach knotted, a feeling of dread settling deep. "I'm Detective Ward," the stranger announced, removing the hood, rain dripping from short, dark hair, eyes sharp and calculating. "Your brake failure. It wasn't an accident." Alex's heart skipped, mind spinning, disbelief clashing with fear. "Someone tampered with your car." Alex stepped back instinctively, shaking. "What? Who? Why?" The questions tumbled out, words rushed by fear, by confusion. By the lingering adrenaline, Detective Ward glanced at the car, then at the surrounding crowd. We don't know yet, but we have evidence. Evidence! The word hit hard, bringing everything into focus. The runaway car was not random, not just bad luck. The fear from before turned into a sharper, colder edge. A realization that survival alone was no longer enough. Someone wanted Alex hurt, possibly dead, and had the means to make it happen. Detective Ward motioned for Alex to follow. Keeping low, careful. We need to get you somewhere safe. And fast? Alex hesitated, looking back at the car. The street, the growing crowd. Everything felt unsafe. Even the rain-slicked asphalt that had almost been a killer. As Alex stepped forward, the detective produced a small device. A tablet showing blurry footage. Shadows moving around the car days before. Someone suspiciously watching. Someone placing small objects near the wheels. The scene replayed slowly, each second adding weight to the growing terror. Alex's stomach churned, eyes wide. I was being followed? The realization hit like a cold wave. Fear, disbelief, and rage mixing. The simple drive home had been a trap. Every detail now part of a plan Alex could not yet fully understand. Detective Ward nodded grimly. Yes. We believe someone has been monitoring you for days, preparing for this incident. The words echoed in Alex's mind. Every sound of dripping rain, distant sirens, and murmurs of the crowd now amplified. Threatening, dangerous. Alex felt a pull between action and paralysis. The mind searching for clarity, every instinct screaming survival. Every nerve on edge, the city that once felt familiar, comforting, now seemed alien. Hostile. A place where the line between safety and danger had vanished. And then a sudden noise. A car door slamming. Engine starting nearby, the sound of a vehicle approaching fast. Unseen, threatening, deliberate. Alex's heart jumped, every sense alert. Every escape route, every plan, every hope for calm shattered. Detective Ward's eyes narrowed, scanning the street. They're still here, he said quietly. Voice urgent, the tension sharp as a knife. We need to move now. Alex nodded, breath short, pulse racing, knowing that the moment of relative safety had already ended. As they moved together through the drizzle, weaving around the crowd and abandoned umbrellas, Alex felt the full weight of the realization. This was only the beginning. The car crash had been the spark, and now the fire was spreading. Unstoppable. Somewhere in the shadows the threat waited, watching, and Alex knew the next move could mean life or death. Every decision from this moment forward would matter. The first escape had succeeded, but the real danger was only just beginning. Alex's hands trembled as they followed Detective Ward through the slick, empty streets, rain dripping from their hair and clothes. Each step felt heavy, the echo of distant sirens bouncing off the buildings, reminding Alex that danger was everywhere, unseen but close. The detective led Alex into a narrow alley, the shadows thick and suffocating. Dim streetlights flickering overhead. Stay close, Ward whispered, eyes scanning every corner, every doorway. We don't know who's watching. Alex nodded silently. Heart pounding, every sense alert. Once they reached the relative safety of a side street, Ward finally spoke more fully, his tone calm but firm. Alex, the brake failure was deliberate. Someone wanted you hurt. Maybe worse. Alex's stomach twisted, disbelief mixing with fear. But who? Why? Ward shook his head slightly. We're not sure yet. But someone has been tracking your movements for weeks. Maybe months. Learning your routine, predicting your actions. Waiting for the perfect moment. The words cut deeper than any physical danger. The idea of being hunted, watched, controlled, made the blood run cold. Alex's mind raced, trying to remember if anyone had acted suspiciously recently. Any strange encounters, any small signs overlooked, but nothing seemed concrete. Nothing seemed enough. The feeling of being trapped grew heavier with every second. Ward handed Alex a small device, a tablet showing grainy security footage. The video grainy but clear enough to recognize a figure tampering with the brakes days before. Crouched near the car under cover of night. Careful, deliberate. Every movement practiced. Precise, calculated. Alex stared, voice barely above a whisper. They planned this? Ward nodded grimly. Yes, and they might still be nearby. Every instinct in Alex screamed danger. The sensation of unseen eyes pressing down, weighing, predicting, waiting for a misstep. Alex shivered, wrapping arms around self. But why me? I'm just Ordinary. The detective's eyes were sharp, almost piercing. No one is ordinary when someone decides they are a target. He paused, scanning the street again. And we cannot assume it's random, Alex. This is personal. Calculated. The wind gusted suddenly, carrying the distant sound of an engine. The hum of a car idling somewhere hidden. Alex froze, heart pounding, eyes darting to shadows. Every alleyway a possible threat. Every pedestrian passing by a potential witness. Or enemy. Ward gestured toward a parked van down the street. That will give us cover, a place to regroup. Alex nodded. Moving cautiously, every muscle tense, every step careful. The rain masking small sounds, but not the pounding heartbeat in chest. As they approached the van, Alex noticed something unsettling. Footprints in the wet asphalt, leading directly toward the alley they had just passed. Fresh, large, deliberate. The realization hit Alex hard. The hunter was close. And they were being tracked even now. Ward noticed the reaction. Voice low but firm. Good eyes, Alex. That's exactly what I was afraid of. They're still here, watching. Maybe waiting for us to make a move. Alex swallowed hard, trying to steady the shaking hands. What do we do? Ward's expression hardened. We wait for backup. But we cannot stay here too long. The threat is smart, patient, and dangerous. They won't make a mistake twice, you need to understand. Your next move could be critical. Alex nodded. Every nerve on edge. A sudden noise. A car door slammed somewhere behind the van. Metal scraping against asphalt. The faint crunch of gravel. Alex's eyes widened, the pulse spiking. Every instinct screaming to move, to run, to hide. Ward held up a hand, signaling silence, then whispered, Stay low. Don't make sudden movements. Alex crouched behind the van, peering through a crack, trying to spot the intruder. But the shadows were thick, and the figure remained unseen. Minutes passed like hours, the tension unbearable. Alex's mind spinning, trying to predict, calculate, anticipate. The unknown threat was exhausting, its presence invisible but palpable, pressing down like a heavy weight, suffocating, relentless. Finally, Ward spoke quietly. We need to get you somewhere safe. Somewhere they won't find you easily. But first, I need to know everything. Your routines, your contacts, anything that could explain why someone would target you. Alex hesitated, heart still racing, but realized there was no choice, no alternative. The detective's eyes were serious, intense. Alex, I need your honesty, every detail. No matter how small, every bit of information could save your life. The weight of the situation sank in, fear mixing with determination, realization settling like a stone in the stomach. Alex began recounting the past weeks. Every unusual call, every stranger glance, every small unease remembered as words tumbled out. Ward listened intently, occasionally nodding, occasionally typing into a small device, the sense of urgency pressing down heavier with every passing second. And through it all, Alex felt the presence of the hidden threat lingering, the sense that someone was always watching, waiting, ready to strike if a mistake was made. The fear was no longer abstract, it was real, immediate, pressing against every thought. Every breath, every step, rain fell heavier again, cold droplets dripping down faces, soaking clothes, the street gleaming with reflections of light. The night had transformed into a battlefield, silent but dangerous, and Alex knew that the next few hours would define everything. Survival was not guaranteed, and the hidden threat remained. Patient, calculating, waiting. The night had grown colder, the drizzle turning into a steady rain, soaking Alex and Detective Ward as they hurried through the quiet back streets. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound magnified, from the distant hum of an engine to the faint scuffle of shoes on wet asphalt. Alex's mind raced, heart pounding, knowing that the danger was still close. Unseen but present, the memory of the runaway car, the near collision with the truck, and the hidden threat now combined into a heavy weight pressing on every thought. Every instinct screamed that nothing was safe. Nothing was simple. Ward led Alex to a small, abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city, its walls dark and unwelcoming, a place where the rain and shadows offered some cover. We can regroup here, Ward said quietly, but it's temporary. They know someone like you will need shelter. So this could be watched too. Alex nodded, shivering, wrapping arms around the body. Inside the warehouse, the air smelled of rust and wet wood, puddles forming on the uneven floor. Alex's eyes adjusted to the dim light filtering through broken windows. The silence was almost deafening. filled only by the sound of distant traffic and the occasional drip of water from the ceiling. Alex took a shaky breath, trying to steady thoughts. But the reality was clear. The danger had not ended. It had evolved, becoming more cunning, more personal. The brake failure, the stalking, the near crashes, and all pointed to someone with a plan. Someone patient and intelligent. Ward pulled out a map of the surrounding city. Pointing to 2 escape routes, each path presented extreme risks. No safe option, only choices with high stakes. Route A leads through a narrow highway, Ward explained, tracing a line with a finger. It's less populated, but has sharp cliffs and dangerous curves. One wrong turn and it could be fatal. Route B goes through the city traffic, he continued. More cars, more chance of being seen, but fewer deadly drops. You'll need speed, skill, and luck to make it through safely. Both paths have dangers, Alex. And you must decide quickly. Alex stared at the map, mind spinning, chest tight, every muscle tense. It was impossible to predict which route was safer. Each offered life or death. The warehouse suddenly felt like a cage, walls closing in. The rain outside masking the sound of footsteps or a lurking vehicle. Memories of the runaway car flooded Alex's mind. The skidding, the near collisions, the flash of headlights, and the feeling of being hunted. The adrenaline still pulsed, raw and unrelenting. Guiding instincts, but also feeding fear. Every option seemed impossible. Every choice critical. Alex hesitated, voice shaky. And, if I choose wrong? Ward's eyes were calm but serious. Wrong could mean serious injury or death. But sometimes, Alex, there is no perfect choice. Only the best one you can make, and your instincts will matter more than luck. Time pressed on. The distant sirens, a constant reminder that the threat was not idle. Someone had planned, someone had followed, and they would not stop. The fear became sharper, more immediate. Every shadow potentially hiding the enemy. Finally, Alex made a choice. Route A. The highway with cliffs, narrow and dangerous. But even as the decision was made, doubt gnawed at the mind. The choice could save life, or it could be the beginning of a more terrifying ordeal. Ward helped Alex back to the car, now parked in a shadowed corner of the warehouse yard. The engine rumbled to life, hesitant. As if aware of the danger outside, the tires glistened with rain, ready to carry Alex into the unknown. As the car merged onto the highway, the road dark and slick, the wind whipping against the windows, Alex felt every second stretch, every heartbeat a drum of warning. Every curve of the highway loomed ahead like a predator, every drop from the cliffside threatening. Suddenly the brakes trembled underfoot. A reminder of past terror. Alex's pulse spiked, and hands tightened on the wheel. The memory of the first runaway car incident surged. Almost paralyzing, yet determination won over fear. Each reflex sharpened by necessity. The highway was deserted. Shadows stretching long under the dim glow of sparse streetlights. Rain streaked the windshield, reducing visibility, every turn more dangerous than the last. Alex navigated carefully, yet with speed, balancing control and risk. And then it happened. Another car appeared behind, headlights glaring, following too closely. Intentionally, its engine growled, echoing across the empty highway. Alex realized immediately the stalker, the hidden threat, had tracked this route as well. The chase had begun again. More urgent, more deadly, every curve became a test, every obstacle a challenge. Alex maneuvered with precision, swerving narrowly past a guardrail, hugging the cliffside with inches to spare. The pursuing car mirrored every move. Relentless, patient, calculating, Alex's mind raced. Calculating, searching for a solution. Every instinct screamed to survive, every nerve screamed danger. This was no longer a simple escape. It was a battle, a test of courage, skill, and quick thinking. The choice had been made. But the consequences were immediate, life or death unfolding with every second. Alex knew the coming minutes would determine survival, injury, or worse, and the dangerous choice was only the beginning of a more perilous journey. The highway stretched ahead like a dark ribbon, slick with rain and illuminated only by the faint glow of distant streetlights. Alex gripped the steering wheel tighter, knuckles white, muscles tense, every sense on high alert. The pursuing car was relentless, headlights blazing, engine growling like a predator behind. Each curve of the narrow highway demanded precision. One misstep could send the car sliding off the cliff into the dark abyss below. Alex's heart pounded, breaths coming in short, sharp gasps. Yet there was no choice but to keep moving. The fear was sharp, immediate, constant. The tires squealed as Alex maneuvered sharply around a bend. Rain sprang across the windshield, each drop a tiny distraction. Yet the pursuer followed perfectly, mirroring every move, calculating, patient, deliberate. The chase had become a deadly dance where one mistake would end everything. Alex's mind raced, thinking of every shortcut, every potential escape, scanning the highway for anything that could give an advantage. Ahead, a narrow bridge spanned a river. Metal railings rusted and weak, the water below rushing dark and cold. It could be used, maybe to shake the pursuer, but it was a gamble. Adrenaline surged, muscles tensing. As Alex made the decision to drive onto the bridge, hugging the side closest to the railing, tires scraping against metal in a sharp warning sound. The pursuing car followed without hesitation. No fear, no mercy, only intent. Come on, come on, Alex muttered, focusing on every inch of the road. Every turn, every vibration of the car. The bridge stretched long, the sound of metal groaning under weight and speed filling the night. A sudden gust of wind rocked the car, and a shiver ran down the spine. Then a fallen beam appeared ahead, twisted across the road from some earlier accident. Alex's eyes widened, calculations spinning in the mind. The only choice, swerve at high speed, or hit it and risk flipping the car. Every second counted. Every heartbeat a drum of tension. Alex swerved sharply, tires skidding, the car bouncing dangerously, the beam narrowly avoided. But the pursuing car was not so lucky. It struck the beam with a loud crash. Metal screeching, glass shattering, the vehicle spun violently, and Alex felt a surge of grim satisfaction. But relief was short-lived. The highway opened into a small town. Streets wet and dim, parked cars lining the lanes. Pedestrians late for dinner or hurried errands, completely unaware of the deadly chase. Alex's mind calculated the next move carefully, knowing the highway had given temporary advantage. But the danger was not gone. The pursuing car regained control quickly, spinning back onto the road, engine roaring. Headlights blazing, relentless, Alex's pulse spiked, realizing that the enemy was as skilled as they were determined. The town streets offered new challenges, traffic lights, narrow alleys, intersections, and people all adding complexity. A sudden horn blared from a car ahead, forcing Alex to swerve again, tires skidding on wet asphalt. Heart racing, mind calculating. The chase was now a test of reflexes and courage. Every second a life-or-death gamble. Every choice mattered, and mistakes could be fatal. Alex spotted an abandoned parking lot to the right. A chance to hide temporarily, maybe lose the pursuer. The moment could allow a plan, a pause, a chance to breathe and think. Yet as the wheel turned toward it, another vehicle appeared from the opposite lane. Blocking the escape, Alex cursed under breath, gripping the wheel, instincts screaming. The chase was tightening like a predator circling. Closing in, no clear path, no safe option, only reaction, speed, and hope. Every nerve screamed danger, and Alex realized that survival depended on split-second decisions. Suddenly, a shortcut appeared, a narrow alley between two buildings, barely wide enough for the car to squeeze through. Dark, twisting, unpredictable, but possibly the only way to shake the pursuer. Alex's hand trembled on the wheel, but determination overrode fear. The car entered the alley at high speed, scraping against the walls, rainwater splashing over mirrors, headlights bouncing off brick. The pursuing car hesitated, misjudged the entrance, and Alex felt a flicker of hope. Maybe an advantage, maybe a moment to breathe. But the alley led into another street, a T-junction, and ahead, traffic lights flickered, pedestrians scattered, and a sudden delivery truck blocked the path. A decision loomed, brake and risk being caught, or swerve into unknown danger. Every instinct screamed. The pulse thundered in the ears. Alex pressed down, steering with precision, choosing to swerve, tires squealing on wet asphalt, narrowly avoiding the truck, and finally, a sense of temporary control returned. The pursuer now behind, slowed, unable to follow as quickly, at least for the moment. Breathing heavily, heart pounding, Alex realized the danger was far from over. But for the first time in hours, a glimmer of hope emerged. A chance to regroup, to survive. The high-stakes chase had tested every skill, every nerve, every instinct. And Alex knew the final decision, the next choice, could define everything. The road ahead opened into a wide intersection, the rain still falling steadily, shimmering on the asphalt like liquid glass. Alex's hands shook on the wheel, knuckles white, heart hammering, every sense screaming alert. The pursuing car had slowed slightly behind. But the driver was still relentless, calculating, determined. Ahead, the highway split into two paths, one leading sharply toward a cliff. Dark water rushing far below, the other merging into fast-moving traffic. Cars honking, engines roaring, full of unpredictable dangers. Alex's mind raced, calculating, weighing every risk, every possibility. Every instinct screamed, choose carefully, this is it. The memory of the first runaway car incident returned, the screeching brakes, the flashing headlights, the near collisions. The adrenaline pulsed in veins like liquid fire, sharpening reflexes yet also feeding fear. There was no room for error, no second chance. Every choice could be final. Alex glanced at the pursuing vehicle, noticing the driver leaning forward, eyes locked, teeth gritted, completely focused. It was clear now. This was not a simple chase, but a battle of skill, will, and nerves, and the stakes were higher than ever. A flash of lightning illuminated the cliffside road, revealing the drop, sheer and terrifying. Water crashing far below, jagged rocks waiting like a trap. The heart skipped, and cold fear raced through every vein. The other path, the city traffic, offered chaos, unpredictable vehicles. But at least the ground remained solid. Alex had to decide, and the choice had to be instant. Reaction faster than thought. The mind calculated, weighed options, and instinct screamed loudly. Every second stretched, every heartbeat a drum of tension, every muscle taut, ready for action. The car approached the split, tires skidding slightly on the wet asphalt, and Alex's mind made the decision. Swerve into the traffic, hoping for control amidst chaos. Avoiding the deadly cliff, the wheel turned sharply. Rain sprang from the tires, headlights bouncing off wet vehicles ahead. Cars honked, engines roared, pedestrians screamed. Chaos erupted, and Alex's pulse raced, hands gripping the wheel tightly. Eyes darting, reflexes guiding every movement. The speed, the precision, the courage of reaction mattered more than luck now. Every maneuver, every second, a test of skill and survival. A truck suddenly cut across the lane, brakes screeching, tires smoking. Alex's instincts fired, a sharp swerve to the left. Narrowly avoiding collision, the pursuing car behind tried to follow but hesitated. Unsure, giving Alex a tiny advantage, a sliver of hope. Adrenaline surged, muscles burning, mind focused like a laser, weaving between vehicles, hugging the sides of the lane, every turn calculated, yet every moment unpredictable. The city seemed alive with danger, every driver an obstacle, every streetlight a challenge. Then, as Alex approached another intersection, a sudden realization struck. The pursuing vehicle would soon have to stop or risk total disaster, giving Alex the final edge. The moment could define survival or defeat, and the pressure was suffocating. Alex pressed the accelerator, tires screaming against wet asphalt, sliding slightly but controlled, weaving, dodging, navigating with skill born from fear and necessity. Every heartbeat echoed in the ears, the sound of the chase, the pounding rain, the distant sirens, all blending into a single rhythm of life and death. And then it happened, the final confrontation, the choice loop coming full circle, the cliff behind forgotten, the traffic chaos ahead conquered by precision. And Alex realized that the next second could be decisive. A single movement, a single decision, could end the nightmare or prolong it. The pursuing car faltered, miscalculated a turn, and slid slightly, giving Alex the chance to accelerate, pushing the car forward. Tires gripping, engine roaring, adrenaline surging. The vehicle behind spun slightly, then regained control but was now behind. Slower, less dangerous, Alex took a deep breath. The mind racing but focused, eyes forward, every muscle tensed. The choice had been made, survival depending on courage, precision, and instinct. The intersection cleared, traffic maneuvered safely, and finally, a sense of control returned. Small but powerful, the rain began to ease. The headlights of other cars reflecting on the wet streets like tiny stars guiding the way. Alex slowed slightly, heart still racing. The fear still present, but the immediate danger diminishing. The pursuing car disappeared behind, leaving only echoes of the high-stakes chase. Alex's chest heaved, hands still tight on the wheel, mind replaying every second, every maneuver, every choice. The relief was tempered with the knowledge that the hidden threat could return. That danger was never gone entirely, but this moment was survival. Victory earned through courage and skill. Detective Ward appeared beside the car, walking slowly, a calm but serious expression. "You made it," he said simply, voice steady yet heavy with meaning. But remember, Alex, the danger is not gone. They won't stop. They might try again. Alex nodded, taking a deep, shivering breath, finally allowing the body to relax slightly, understanding that the choices, the danger, the chase, had shaped a new reality, one where survival depended on courage, quick thinking, and facing fear head-on. The city stretched ahead, quiet now, the rain easing, the streets reflecting light, the night still alive with possibility and danger. But Alex had learned a vital truth. Every decision mattered. Every choice could be life or death, and sometimes survival depended on trusting instincts, even in the darkest moments. And as the car drove forward into the uncertain night, Alex knew this was not the end, only a moment of reprieve. The choice loop would continue, challenges would return, but now, stronger, wiser, and ready,